Good afternoon, class. Today's lesson, we are going to do a main idea lesson on an article in our anthology books. Um, we're going to go ahead and talk about main ideas. We're going to talk about what goes in a article, what we're going to read in it, the specific details that we find in each paragraph. So what we're going to do is we're going to break it down into parts and we're going to find specific details. We're going to make sure we know what details are in each paragraph. Then we're going to combine it all together and we're going to make one big main idea. So we're going to be able to identify that beginning, middle, end, and we're going to be able to describe what the main idea of the big article is. Okay. So the important things that we're going to know today, we're going to talk about a habitat in nature. So that can be one of our specific details. We'll write in that in a little bit later. We're going to be using our student graphic organizer. It's going to look like this. We're going to make sure that we get all those specific details in the bottom here. We're going to write our concepts for our main ideas for each paragraph. And then we're going to make one big statement at the top that's going to help us out as well, okay? So for the beginning of the class, we're going to do it together. We're going to do it, like I said, we're going to read it in our anthology books. We're going to read that first paragraph. It's going to be at home in the river. So it's going to be page 185 in our anthology books. Go ahead and turn to that page and then we'll get right to it. So like I said, it's going to be titled At Home in the River. Let's read that first paragraph together once everyone's on that page. Okay, so that first paragraph starts off with saying, many animals call the Cuyahoga River home. It is a freshwater habitat. Ocean water has salt, but the river does not. The Cuyahoga gives many animals shelter and food. So we see that one of our first vocab words is in there, and it's habitat. So it's a freshwater habitat, and by this we know that what? A habitat, it's a home. It's a place where where the animals, anything can really live. There's trees. It's a home. So your home is your habitat. It's where you live. It's where you can find food, find shelter, find comfort at some point, right? So we know that. So for this first paragraph, what can we say and what can we write down on our details? Right here on this first column, what can we write on there and say is our first detail for the first paragraph? We can say that the Cuyahoga River, right? Let's just say that the first paragraph speaks about the Cuyahoga River. So we can write that in there, we can state it, we can say that the Cuyahoga River is one specific detail in that first paragraph. What else could we write? Of course, habitat. We could simply say that first detail, that a second detail could be habitat because it is speaking about the habitat for that one. So now going off by that, what can we go? We have our details. Go straight up on that column and you're going to see main idea of a section or paragraph. So now we can go on there and we can say that the main idea, together as a class, we agree that the Cuyahoga River is a habitat. And that could be the main idea of this first paragraph, correct? I would think so. So go ahead on this first column. We can write on there and say that the Cuyahoga River is a habitat, with our details being the Cuyahoga River and habitat, which is one of our words that is bolded into our text. All right, so the next section, excuse me, is going to be actually just one simple paragraph. It actually has a title already, and it's called Food from the River. in that same At Home in the River, it has a subtitle. And for that paragraph, I want you to work on it alone. Or, sorry, excuse me. I want you to work with it with a partner. You're going to work with a partner and you're going to try and identify what details are important in that one paragraph. You're going to describe to me with your details, just bullet points on that column, what exactly do you think we can get from that paragraph and combine it into making details and then create a main idea. So I'm going to give you a few seconds for that so that you are able to create a main idea, and I'll let you do that on your with your shoulder partner or with your group at your table. Go ahead and do that. So now that you have done that with your group, let's write down together in our main idea in our graphic organizer. Let's see what details we found. So we found ducks, food, babies, and plants. Those were some details that were in that paragraph. Let's read it one more time. Food from the river. A family of wooden ducks floats by. The mother leads her ducklings along the river bank. They eat plants that grow in the water. The plants are called duckweed. So we see that that they're speaking about ducks. They're describing how these ducks are getting food, and then how they have different plants, what the name of the babies are. They're describing the ducks, correct? And how they're living in this one habitat, which we know is the Cuyahoga River. So as our details, once again, we have ducks, food, babies, and plants. So those are 4 details that we have for our middle column there. And for our main idea for this paragraph, we came up with home for the animals, correct? So now we know that home for the animals is part of this one thing. So now alone and individually, you alone are going to read the rest of the article. It's subtitled A Spotted Turtle's Journey, still at home in the river in your anthology book. Go ahead and read these 3 this next section, and I want you to come up with as many details as you can that describe this one section of the book or of the article. This way you can come up with the details, and then this will be our last part of it where we can describe and get one big main idea for the whole article. So go ahead, figure it out, find out which 3 fit best in your or which details fit best with this, and that way you can create this. This is individually, you alone will come up with these 3. When we're done, we'll come back together and we will discuss on what products and what details we ended up catching while we read this, okay? Go ahead. Okay, so now that we've worked on it alone or by ourselves, let's go ahead and read that section together, Spotted Turtle's Journey. Spotted turtles sun themselves on a floating log. They have dots on their heads and shells. One turtle leaves the river to lay eggs. On the riverbank, she stops to eat snails and worms. When she finds a place, she digs a hole with her back legs. She covers her eggs with dirt to hide them from other animals. A raccoon sleeps in a hole in the tree. It would enjoy this meal. After 2 months, the baby turtles hatch. They journey to the riverbank. Every living thing is important in nature. Each living thing that needs and helps another. Each plant and animal lives and then begins a new cycle. Life in the river keeps going. So in this section, what big details could we find and did we demonstrate for this one article? Okay, spotted turtles, the eggs that they hatched, the raccoon and where it slept, which is what? The hole in the tree. And then that very last section of that big section, stated every living thing is important in nature. That's our second word. And we know that everything is important, right? It says it in there. They need each other, they need help, they find home. This is their home, right? This is where they are going to be. So, with this, we have spotted turtles, we have eggs, we have raccoons, we have hole in the tree for a living situation, we have hatching eggs, and then we have home, right? And helping each other is what a lot of you guys wrote in those details. So now we have these it's like 6 details. We have these 6 details, and now we have a main idea. Let's create a main idea for this last section. We came up with animals are finding home. So they are finding where they live. The turtle is hatching their eggs, stating them there, keeping them there, correct? And then she's finally getting them to hatch and then find a home back at the riverbank. So this article is great now that we know everything about it. But what is the big part of it? What's the really big part of the article? We want to know and create one big main idea, one big topic. What is it? And what can we use? We can use the details at the bottom that we've created. We can use those 3 main ideas that we've created from each section in the article. And then we can use those to create one big solid thought of what we thought this article meant. And we came up with the Cuyahoga River is a home to animals, correct? So your graphic organizer should now look something like this. It should have all of this filled out. We have it all generated into one big main idea, one big graphic organizer. So now this is going to be representative of what it is, correct? So now on the back of all of your papers, I want you to tell me and describe to me what the Cuyahoga actually is. We know that it's home, but using our vocab words, using what we've learned today, describe to me the Cuyahoga River is blank to animals and why you believe that the Cuyahoga is this to the animals. Using our words that we have highlighted, habitat and nature, on the back of your worksheet, go ahead and involve that and write 1 sentence or 2 at the most, describing what you think. And you can use that format, a Cuyahoga River is, and then describe it because of this. That's going to help us figure out and also embrace a little bit more on what we've learned with the Cuyahoga River. Alrighty, so that was today's lesson. Finish off your sentence on the back. If you haven't already, go ahead and write down your big main idea, and that was at home in the river.